I stand in my own home during my retirement party, champagne glass in hand, about to toast selling my construction business for $28 million. Guests surround me, laughing, celebrating. Just as I raise my glass, I catch my daughter-in-law, Amanda, in the reflection of the French doors, dropping something small and white into my champagne from a folded tissue. My heart pounds. No one else sees. When Amanda turns away, I smoothly switch my glass with the one belonging to Amanda's mother, Helen, who stands beside me chatting with guests, completely unaware. The moment arrives. I lift my glass high, and everyone in the room follows suit. 73 people packed into my living room, all here to celebrate my 42 years in construction, my retirement, my success. The chandelier sparkles overhead, casting warm light on familiar faces. Friends from the Rotary Club, old business partners, neighbors I've known for decades. My son Brian beaming at me from across the room, with Amanda at his side. I begin my speech. Thank the guests for coming, talk about building this company from nothing, about integrity and hard work, standard retirement speech stuff. Everyone smiles, nods, raises their glasses higher. Helen stands to my right, her champagne flute catching the light. She doesn't know she's holding my glass, the glass that was meant for me. I finish my toast. Everyone drinks. I bring my glass to my lips, just barely taste it. Helen beside me takes a long, deep drink, draining nearly half her glass. She smiles at me, pats my arm, says something about how proud she is that her daughter married into such a wonderful family. 3 minutes pass. I'm shaking hands, accepting congratulations. Then I hear a strange sound behind me. A gasp, followed by a choking noise. I turn. Helen's face has gone white. Not pale, but truly white, like paper. Her eyes are wide, unfocused. She grabs at her throat with both hands. The champagne flute falls from her fingers, shatters on my hardwood floor. The room goes silent. Everyone stares. Helen tries to say something, but only a gurgling sound comes out. Her body starts to shake, not trembling, but violent convulsions. Her knees buckle. She drops hard, her head hitting the floor with a sickening thud. Then the screaming starts. People rush forward. Someone yells to call 911. Brian pushes through the crowd, drops to his knees beside Helen. He's genuinely terrified. I can see it in his face. Whatever Amanda planned, my son knows nothing about it. I scan the room, find Amanda. She stands frozen near the fireplace, her face a mask of pure horror. She's staring at her mother writhing on the floor, and I watch as the realization hits her. Her eyes go wide. Her mouth opens slightly. She knows. She knows I switched the glasses. Helen's convulsions intensify. White foam appears at the corners of her mouth. Someone with medical training, a retired nurse named Patricia, tries to help, checks Helen's pulse, tells everyone to give her space. Brian is crying, calling Helen's name, begging her to hold on. I stand perfectly still, watching Amanda. Our eyes meet across the chaos. In that moment, a whole conversation happens without words. She knows I saw what she did. I know she tried to kill me, and we both know her mother is dying from poison meant for me. The paramedics arrive in 8 minutes, though it feels like an hour. They rush in with equipment, push everyone back, start working on Helen. IVs, oxygen, questions fired at Brian about what she ate, what she drank, any medical conditions. Brian is useless, too panicked to think straight. The paramedics load Helen onto a stretcher, her body still twitching, eyes rolled back. The police arrive next. 2 officers, a man and a woman, asking what happened. People talk over each other, trying to explain. Someone collapsed. Maybe a heart attack, maybe a stroke. No one mentions poison, because no one saw what I saw, except Amanda. I catch one of the officers, a young woman with sharp eyes. I speak quietly, calmly. Tell her I saw Amanda near the champagne glasses before the toast, that she was doing something with them. The officer writes it down, asks Amanda to step outside for questions. Amanda hears me. Her face goes from white to red. Rage replaces the fear. But she goes with the officer, trying to look cooperative, innocent. The party ends fast after that. Guests file out. murmuring condolences, looking shaken. Brian leaves in the ambulance with Helen. Amanda stays behind to give her statement to police. I answer questions too. No, I don't know what happened. Yes. Helen seemed fine before she drank. No, I didn't see anyone tamper with the drinks. I lie smoothly. I need to know more before I reveal what I saw. The police finally leave. The house empties. I'm alone, standing in my living room, surrounded by half-empty champagne flutes and scattered appetizers. My cleaning service will have a field day with this mess. Then I hear footsteps behind me. Amanda. She didn't leave with the others. She walks into my kitchen like she owns it. Her face is cold now. Calculating. The mask of the grieving daughter is gone. You switch the glasses. Not a question. A statement. Her voice is ice. I don't deny it. What did you put in my drink? She laughs. Actually laughs. It's a bitter, twisted sound. You were supposed to die tonight, old man. Now my mother might die instead. The casual cruelty in her voice stuns me. I've known Amanda for 3 years, since Brian brought her home. Always thought she was a little cold, a little too interested in money. But this is evil. Why? I ask, though I already know the answer. 28 million reasons. She steps closer. You were going to change your will, Brian told me. Said you were thinking about leaving most of it to charity, some stupid foundation for homeless vets. We couldn't let that happen. We? The word catches in my throat. Brian and I. She smiles. He was in on it from the start. I don't believe her. I saw Brian's face when Helen collapsed. That wasn't acting. But I don't argue. Not yet. Amanda keeps talking. Can't seem to help herself. It was perfect. Your own heart medication, ground up fine. Just a massive dose. Would have looked natural. Elderly man. History of heart problems. Excitement of his retirement party. Heart gives out. Sad, but not suspicious. Brian inherits. Eventually, after your lawyers finish probating the estate. We'd be set for life. She's standing 5 feet from me now. I could grab her, hold her until the police come back, but she reads my thoughts. You can't prove anything. My fingerprints aren't on your glass. Yours are everywhere, obviously. It's your house, your party, your medication. And Helen drank it, not you. If she dies, you look like the killer. If she lives, she'll say whatever I tell her to say. The police know I told them I saw you near the drinks. And I told them you're paranoid. That you've been acting strange for months. Forgetting things. Getting confused. Brian will back me up on that. I've been documenting it. My blood runs cold. She's been planning this for longer than tonight. If my mother dies, Amanda continues, her voice dropping to a whisper, I will destroy you. I'll say you did this. I'll say you've hated her for years. That you blamed her for Brian marrying me. I'll say you threatened her. I've already laid the groundwork. The police will believe me. She turns to leave, pauses at the door. This isn't over, Lynn. Not even close. The door closes behind her. I stand alone in my kitchen, hands shaking, realizing I've just escalated a murder attempt into something much worse. A war. Morning sun cuts through my bedroom window, but I haven't slept. I spent the night calling the hospital, trying to get information about Helen. Critical condition, ICU, medically induced coma. That's all they'll tell me. I'm not family. At 8:30, my doorbell rings. I look through the window and see an unmarked sedan in my driveway. A woman in a dark blazer stands on my porch. Detective Sandra Reeves. She shows me her badge, asks to come in. I let her. What choice do I have? We sit in my living room, the same room where Helen collapsed 12 hours ago. Someone cleaned up the broken glass, but I can still see the spot where she fell. Detective Reeves is maybe 45, with graying hair pulled back tight and eyes that miss nothing. She pulls out a notebook, flips through pages covered in neat handwriting. Mr. Lynn, I need to ask you some questions about last night. Of course. How is Helen? Stable, but still critical. The doctors say she's lucky to be alive. Reeves watches my face carefully. She ingested a massive dose of cardiac medication, enough to kill someone. That's terrible. Do you know how? We found residue in your kitchen trash can. Ground-up pills. We matched them to your prescription. Digoxin, correct? My stomach drops. Yes, that's my heart medication. But I didn't. Your fingerprints are on the bottle. On a mortar and pestle we found in your kitchen cabinet. I use that for grinding supplements sometimes. Turmeric. Things like that. But I never ground up my medication. Why would I? Reeves writes something down. Mrs. Amanda Lynn says you and Helen argued frequently. That you blamed her for, quote, corrupting your son, making him greedy. That's absurd. Helen and I got along fine. She also says you threatened Helen last week. Told her you'd make her pay for ruining Brian's character. I'm stunned. I never said anything like that. This is insane. Is it? Reeves leans forward. You sold your business for $28 million. That's a lot of money. Amanda says Brian is your only heir. But Helen has influence over Brian. Maybe you thought if Helen was gone, you'd have your son back. Full control over how he receives his inheritance. You've got this backwards. Amanda tried to poison me. I switched glasses. Why would Amanda want you dead? She benefits more from keeping you alive, keeping the family intact. I see the trap. From the outside, it makes no sense. Amanda has everything to lose if I die before changing my will in Brian's favor. The money. She wanted Brian to inherit. Maybe she planned to make it look like an accident. But you said you switched glasses. If you saw her do something suspicious, why didn't you stop her? Why didn't you call out, warn everyone? Instead, you secretly switched glasses with an innocent woman. That seems like the action of someone who wanted Helen to drink poison. The logic is airtight. My own actions look guilty. The door opens. Brian walks in, doesn't knock. His face is haggard, eyes red from crying. He looks at me, and the expression there breaks my heart. Not love, not concern, hatred. How could you, Dad? His voice cracks. Helen never did anything to you. She treated you like family, and you poisoned her. Brian, listen to me. No. He cuts me off. Amanda told me everything. How you've been saying awful things about her mother. How you threatened Helen. How you've been acting paranoid, unstable. Amanda is lying. She's the one who... Stop! Brian's shout echoes through the room. Don't you dare blame my wife. She's done nothing but try to be a good daughter-in-law to you, and this is how you repay her? I stand. Try to reach for my son. He steps back like I'm diseased. $28 million, I say desperately. That's what this is about. Amanda wants the money. She tried to kill me. You're delusional. Brian's voice is cold now. Amanda doesn't need your money. We're doing fine. This is about you being a controlling, bitter old man who can't stand that I'm independent now. That I have a life that doesn't revolve around you. Detective Reeves stands. Mr. Lynn, I need you to come to the station. We have more questions. My lawyer, Douglas Hart, arrives just then. Thank God I called him last night. Douglas is 60, silver-haired, sharp as they come. Been my attorney for 20 years. My client isn't answering any more questions without me present, Douglas says firmly. At the police station, Douglas pulls me into a private room. His expression is grave. Lynn, this looks very bad. They have your medication, your fingerprints, motive they're building, about controlling your son. And your explanation about switching glasses makes you look guilty, not innocent. But I saw Amanda. I believe you. But proving it is another matter. Amanda has been strategic. Very strategic. He's right. I see it now. Amanda has been setting this up for weeks, maybe months. The story about me acting paranoid, the fake threats, all of it building to this moment. We spend 3 hours at the station. I give my statement through Douglas, sticking to the facts. I saw Amanda near the champagne. I switched glasses on instinct. I didn't know what was in the drink. Detective Reeves writes it all down, but I can see she doesn't believe me. They don't arrest me. Not yet. Not enough evidence, Douglas says, but I'm clearly the prime suspect. When we finally leave, it's late afternoon. Douglas drives me home in silence. As we pull up to my house, he turns to me. There's something else. Amanda showed police text messages. From your number. Threatening her. Calling her a gold digger. saying she'd never see a penny of your money. I never sent her any texts. They look real. Came from your number. Timestamps going back 3 weeks. Then she faked them somehow. Spoofed my number. That's very sophisticated. Lynn, I need you to understand how serious this is. If Helen dies, you'll be charged with murder. If she lives, attempted murder. Either way, you're looking at prison time if we can't prove Amanda did this. I nod. Numb. Douglas leaves me at my door with a warning to stay home. Don't contact Amanda or Brian. Don't do anything without calling him first. Inside, my house feels foreign, violated. I pour myself 3 fingers of bourbon, something I rarely do anymore because of my medication. But tonight I need it. My phone rings. Brian. Maybe he's calmed down, ready to listen. Dad. His voice is thick. I'm at the hospital. Mom just woke up. Mom. He means Helen. He's called her that since the wedding. That's wonderful, Brian. Can I talk to her? I need to tell her. She doesn't remember anything. The doctors say the poison, or maybe when she hit her head, it caused memory loss. She doesn't remember the party, doesn't remember drinking anything. My hope sinks. How much does she remember? Everything up until that morning, then nothing until she woke up just now. So, no testimony, no witness to what Amanda did. It's my word against Amanda's, and Amanda has been building her case while I was just trying to survive my retirement party. Brian, please. You have to listen to me. Amanda is dangerous. She's manipulating you. He hangs up. I sit in darkness, bourbon in hand, and for the first time since this began, I feel real fear. Not just for myself, but for what's going to happen next. Because Amanda promised this wasn't over, and she's not the type to make empty threats. The next morning, I discover just how right I was. I wake to find someone has been in my house during the night. My office has been searched. Papers everywhere. File drawers open. Most importantly, my safe is open. Empty. My will is gone. And the war has entered its next phase. 3 days pass. 3 days of Helen recovering in the hospital while I watch my life disintegrate. She's awake, stable, but the memory loss is real. The doctors say it may be permanent. Without her testimony, I have nothing. I meet Douglas at his office, along with my accountant, Frank Patterson. Frank is 70, been handling my business finances for 30 years. Seen me through boom times and recessions. Never seen him look like this. Pale. Nervous. We have a problem, Frank says, laying out papers on Douglas's conference table. A big one. The sale of my construction business, the one that was supposed to set me up for the rest of my life, has hit complications. The buyer's attorneys are raising concerns. An investigation into attempted murder involving the seller tends to make people nervous, but that's not the worst of it. Brian is listed as co-owner on several subsidiary accounts, Frank explains. Do you remember setting these up? I do, vaguely. 2 years ago, when Brian was helping me restructure some business entities, tax efficiency, estate planning, he needed signatory authority for a few accounts. Nothing major, or so I thought. How much is in these accounts? Frank won't meet my eyes. Combined? About 4.7 million. My throat goes dry. And Brian has access? Full access. Has had for 2 years. We set it up that way for estate planning purposes, remember? So he could manage things if you became incapacitated. If I became incapacitated, the words hang in the air like a noose. Douglas leans forward. There's more. Brian filed legal papers yesterday. He's claiming you're mentally unfit to manage your affairs, seeking emergency conservatorship. What? On what grounds? He submitted medical records. From last year, when you saw that neurologist. Do you remember? I do. I'd been having some memory issues, minor ones, forgetting appointments, misplacing things. My doctor sent me to a specialist. They ran tests, said it was normal age-related cognitive decline. Nothing serious. I'd forgotten all about it. Amanda is using those records, Douglas continues, arguing that your mental state has deteriorated, that you're paranoid, delusional, that attempting to poison Helen was the action of someone not in their right mind. She's got Brian convinced you need to be in a facility, under professional care. under conservatorship. And if she succeeds, Brian would control your assets. All of them. For your protection, allegedly. I see the full picture now. The poisoning wasn't just about killing me. It was about either inheriting immediately through my death or seizing control through conservatorship. Either way, Amanda wins. The business sale, I ask. Where does that stand? Frank shuffles papers. The buyer is spooked. They've put the whole thing on hold pending the investigation. The $28 million is in escrow, but we can't touch it. And your personal accounts, the ones we can normally access, most of those are frozen too. Police request during the criminal investigation. How much do I have access to? Frank names a figure that makes my head spin. Less than $40,000. After 42 years of building a business, after selling it for $28 million, I have $40,000 I can actually use. Legal fees to fight the conservatorship will run about $300,000, Douglas says. Maybe more. And if you're charged, criminal defense will be another $500,000. Minimum. You need to post bond, assuming they set bail. That's usually 10% of whatever they set. If they set it at $500,000, you need $50,000 just to stay out of jail. The math is brutal. I can't afford to fight. Not with my money frozen. Douglas clears his throat. There's something else. Brian and Amanda moved money. $3 million from one of those joint accounts. Last week, before the party. Where did it go? Offshore. We're trying to trace it, but it's complicated. I slump in my chair. Amanda has been planning this for months. Every move calculated. She knew which accounts Brian had access to. She convinced him to move the money before the poisoning, probably telling him it was for tax purposes or investment opportunities. By the time I discovered what happened, the money would be gone. My cell phone rings. Unknown number. I answer out of habit. Mr. Lin? A woman's voice I don't recognize. This is Jessica Torres from First National Bank. I'm calling about your credit cards. They've been reported stolen and we've frozen all your accounts. I didn't report them stolen. Who called you? Your son, Brian Lin. He said you've been acting confused, that you might not realize they were missing. He has power of attorney and requested we freeze everything for your protection. Power of attorney. Another lie. Brian doesn't have power of attorney. I never gave him that. Sir, we have paperwork on file, signed and notarized. If there's a dispute, you'll need to come in and sort it out with legal documents. She hangs up. I stare at my phone. Forged power of attorney. Credit cards frozen. Money trapped in escrow or moved offshore. Even if I win every legal battle, I'm broke until it's over. Douglas and Frank exchange worried looks. Lynn, Douglas says carefully. Amanda has been incredibly thorough. This isn't amateur hour. She's had professional help. Maybe a lawyer, maybe someone with financial crimes experience. The level of sophistication here is alarming. That evening, Amanda proves Douglas right. She shows up at my house. Lets herself in with a key. Brian's key, probably. Walks into my living room like she owns it. She's dressed expensively. Hair perfect. Makeup flawless. Looks like she's heading to a charity gala, not confronting the man she tried to murder. Hello, Lynn. She sits on my couch without being invited. We need to talk. Get out of my house. Your house? For now. She smiles. But that could change very quickly. See, Brian has been very cooperative. He signed all the paperwork I needed. Power of attorney, conservatorship petition, statements about your declining mental state. He thinks he's protecting you. You're manipulating him. Of course I am. He's weak, sentimental, loves his daddy too much. But he loves me more now, and he's terrified of going to prison. Prison for what? Amanda pulls out her phone, shows me photos. Bank statements, transaction records, email exchanges. Brian's been embezzling from your company for 3 years. Did you know that? No, of course you didn't. You trusted him. Gave him access to everything. And he's been skimming. Not much at first, a few thousand here and there, but it adds up. $2.1 million total. My world tilts. My son. Stealing from me. I found out last year, Amanda continues. I could have turned him in. Could have divorced him and taken half of what he stole. But I had a better idea. I told him to keep stealing, move more money, and I told him if he didn't do exactly what I said, I'd send all this evidence to the police. She's blackmailing him. My son is her hostage. So here's my offer, Amanda says, standing. You sign over power of attorney to Brian. Real this time, not forged. You admit you're not capable of managing your affairs. We'll put you in a nice facility, somewhere comfortable. You'll have an allowance, a good one, $20,000 a month. You can live comfortably for the rest of your life. And I'll make sure Brian doesn't go to prison. And if I refuse, then you're arrested for attempted murder. Helen will testify that you threatened her, that you've been unstable. I have a dozen witnesses who'll say you seemed off at the party. The texts I sent from your phone will be evidence. You'll be convicted. And while you're in prison, Brian will still get conservatorship. You lose either way. But at least my way, you're comfortable. She walks to the door, pauses. You have 1 week. After that, the offer expires. And things get much worse for you. After she leaves, I pour another bourbon. My hands shake so badly I spill some. That night, I can't sleep. Stress, fear, rage, all churning together. Around 2 in the morning, I feel a sharp pain in my chest, radiating down my left arm, shortness of breath. Heart attack, or heart attack symptoms. Hard to tell. I call 911. Ambulance arrives in 10 minutes. They rush me to the hospital. EKG, blood tests, observation. The doctor says it's angina, stress-induced, not a full heart attack, but a warning. You need to reduce stress, she tells me. At your age, with your history, this kind of anxiety can kill you. Amanda is literally trying to stress me to death. They keep me overnight for observation. When I get home the next afternoon, I find my house has been broken into again. My computer is gone, the hard drive ripped out, more papers missing from my office. I call Douglas. He says he'll send someone to change my locks, install a security system. But the damage is done. Amanda has my financial records, my business documents, everything she needs to forge more paperwork or destroy evidence that might help me. I sit in my empty house, surrounded by the wreckage of my life, and realize I'm running out of time, running out of options, and Amanda is just getting started. The hospital releases me with a prescription for anxiety medication and strict orders to avoid stress. Avoid stress. Like telling someone in a burning building to avoid the heat. I return home to find a woman standing on my porch. Mid-50s, professional looking, carrying a leather bag. She smiles warmly when she sees me. Mr. Lynn? I'm Patricia Cunningham. Your son Brian hired me as a home health aide. He's worried about you living alone after your episode. An aide. Another piece of Amanda's plan. Document my decline. Gather evidence of incapacity. I don't need an aide. Tell Brian thank you, but I'm fine. Her smile doesn't waver. I understand this might feel intrusive, but your son cares about you. Just let me help with meals, medication management, daily tasks. I'm very discreet. No. Thank you. But no. She nods, writes something on a tablet. I'll note that you refused assistance. Brian asked me to document your cooperation level. Of course he did. Or rather, Amanda asked him to. My refusal will be used as more evidence that I'm unable to recognize my own limitations. She leaves, and I watch her car disappear down my street. Wonder how much of our conversation she recorded. That afternoon, my best friend Thomas Bradley shows up unannounced. Thomas and I go back 40 years. We started in construction together, young men with more ambition than sense. He sold his share of our partnership after 10 years, went into real estate, did well for himself. We've stayed close through divorces, raising kids, building businesses. Thomas is 72, stocky, with white hair, and a face weathered by decades of outdoor work. He walks in, takes one look at me, and pulls me into a bear hug. You look like hell, Lynn. Feel worse. We sit in my kitchen. I make coffee, strong and black the way we both like it. Thomas doesn't small talk. Never has. I did some digging, he says. Called in some favors. My grandson works in forensic accounting. I had him look into Brian's finances. My stomach tightens. And Thomas pulls out a folder. Spreadsheets, bank statements, transaction records, a paper trail of embezzlement that makes Amanda's photos look incomplete. Brian's been stealing from you for 3 years. You already knew that part, I assume? I nod. But here's what you didn't know. The total isn't 2.1 million. It's closer to 2.8. And Brian didn't keep any of it. What do you mean? The money went through Brian's accounts, yes. But then it transferred out. Offshore accounts? Shell companies? My grandson couldn't trace where it ended up, but he's certain Brian didn't keep it. Someone else has that money. Amanda. It has to be, Thomas continues. I think your daughter-in-law found out Brian was embezzling, but instead of exposing him, she used it. Blackmailed him. Made him steal more. Move more. She's been controlling him for years, Lynn. Your son is a victim too. The realization hits me like a truck. Brian isn't a co-conspirator. He's a hostage. Amanda has been destroying him slowly, forcing him to betray his father while using the threat of prison to keep him compliant. I need to talk to Brian, I say. Show him this. Make him understand. He won't listen. Amanda's got him convinced you're the enemy. You try to approach him, she'll use it against you. Probably get a restraining order. Claim you're harassing them. Thomas is right, but I can't just sit here. My son is trapped, being manipulated by a monster. Against Thomas's advice, I drive to Brian's house. A nice colonial in a good neighborhood, 15 minutes from my place. I helped them with the down payment 2 years ago. $40,000 I gave them as a wedding gift. Amanda answers the door. Her smile is pure poison. Lynn, what a surprise. I need to talk to Brian. He doesn't want to see you. Let me talk to my son. I try to push past her. Mistake. Big mistake. Amanda screams. High-pitched, terrified. Get away from me! Brian! Help! Brian appears from somewhere inside. His face goes from confusion to rage in seconds. Dad, what are you doing? I need to show you something. About Amanda. About the money you... Get out. Brian is shouting now. Get out, or I'm calling the police. Amanda is crying, real tears streaming down her face, acting like I attacked her. He tried to force his way in. I'm so scared. I pull out the papers Thomas gave me, try to show Brian. Amanda snatches them from my hands, tears them up before Brian can see, scatters the pieces like confetti. He's making up lies, she sobs. He's trying to turn you against me. This is exactly what the doctors warned about. Paranoid delusions. Brian, please. Just listen. But Brian won't hear it. He physically pushes me backward, off the porch. I stumble, nearly fall. He slams the door. Through the window, I see Amanda on her phone. 30 seconds later, I hear sirens. The police arrive fast. Same 2 officers from the party. They recognize me. This doesn't look good. Amanda gives her statement, still crying. Says I forced my way in, threatened her, tried to show Brian forged documents to turn him against his wife. She was terrified I'd hurt her. I'm arrested for criminal trespass and harassment. They cuff me in front of Brian's neighbors, put me in the back of a squad car like a common criminal. At the station, they process me. Fingerprints, mugshot, the full humiliation. Bail is set at $50,000. I can't make it. My accessible funds are nearly gone, spent on lawyers and basic living expenses. Douglas shows up 3 hours later, posts bail using his own money. He's furious. What were you thinking? I told you to stay away from them. I had to try. Brian's being blackmailed. He's a victim. And now you're an accused stalker with a restraining order being filed against you. Amanda's lawyers are already on it. You won't be able to go within 500 feet of Brian's house. Douglas drives me home in silence. When we pull up, there's an envelope taped to my door. Official looking, from the county assessor's office. Eviction notice. Property taxes weren't paid, it says. I'm in arrears by $63,000. Never mind that I've paid my property taxes on time for 40 years. Never mind that I have automatic withdrawal set up specifically for this. Someone manipulated the payment system. Changed the account number, probably. Made it look like I failed to pay. I have 30 days to vacate the house I've owned since 1987. That night, I sit in darkness, truly defeated. Amanda has stripped me of everything. My money, My son, my freedom, my home, and the legal system is helping her do it. My phone rings near midnight. Unknown number. I almost don't answer. Mr. Lin? A woman's voice. Older. Cautious. My name is Catherine Walsh. I used to be married to Amanda's father. I sit up straight. How did you get this number? I've been watching Amanda for 5 years. Ever since she killed my son. The words hang in the air between us. I need to talk to you, Catherine continues, but not on the phone. Can you meet me tomorrow? Somewhere public? Somewhere she won't expect? We arranged to meet at a diner 2 towns over. Far from Amanda's surveillance, hopefully. After we hang up, I feel something I haven't felt in days. The smallest spark of hope. Maybe I'm not alone in this fight after all. The diner is one of those old-fashioned places. Chrome and vinyl, unchanged since the 1960s. I arrive early. Take a booth in the back where I can watch the door. Old habits from my construction days. Always knowing your exits. Catherine Walsh walks in at exactly noon. I recognize her from her voice somehow, or maybe from the way she carries herself. Careful. Guarded. Like someone who's been through hell and survived. She's in her mid-50s, well-dressed in a navy pantsuit, hair cut short and professional. But her eyes tell a different story. Haunted. Tired. The eyes of someone who's seen evil up close. She slides into the booth across from me. Orders coffee. We don't speak until the waitress leaves. Thank you for meeting me, Catherine says. I know this must seem strange. You said Amanda killed your son. She flinches at the directness. Nods. Jason. My only child. He died 5 years ago. The police ruled it an accident. But you don't believe that. I know it wasn't. Catherine pulls out a tablet, opens a folder full of documents. Jason was married to Amanda. Not long, just 8 months. They met at a charity auction in Boston. Jason worked in finance, had money but nothing spectacular, until his grandfather died and left him $4 million. The pattern sounds familiar. Wealthy man, sudden death, Amanda inherits. 3 months after Jason inherited, he changed his will, left everything to Amanda, said they were planning to have children, wanted to make sure she'd be taken care of if anything happened to him. Then 2 weeks later, he fell down the stairs in their home, broke his neck, died instantly. Catherine's hands shake as she scrolls through photos on her tablet. Crime scene pictures. Jason at the bottom of a staircase, body bent at an unnatural angle. The police investigated. Amanda said Jason had been drinking, must have slipped. There were no signs of a struggle, no witnesses. They called it accidental death, and Amanda inherited $4 million. You didn't accept that. How could I? Jason barely drank. He was cautious, careful. And the way he fell, the angle, it didn't make sense. Catherine takes a sip of coffee, composing herself. I hired investigators, spent 2 years digging into Amanda's background. What I found terrified me. She shows me more documents. Other men, other deaths. A husband in Texas who drowned in his pool. A fiancé in Florida who died from a prescription drug overdose. Both had money. Both left it to Amanda or women, matching her description, using different names. Amanda Crosby is her real name, Catherine explains. But she's used Amanda Cross, Mandy Carter, Amanda Hayes. Always slight variations. And her mother, Helen, she's part of it too. Helen's been arrested twice for fraud, both times decades ago. Charges dropped for insufficient evidence. I think about Helen in my house, drinking the poisoned champagne. You think Helen was in on the poisoning at my party? I know she was. Catherine's voice is firm. They work together. Amanda seduces wealthy men. Helen plays the doting mother figure. They isolate the target, manipulate him, then either kill him outright or trap him in a conservatorship. Helen deliberately drank that champagne, Lynn. The memory loss is an act. They knew you'd switched glasses somehow, or they had a backup plan in case you didn't drink. Either way, Helen made herself the victim to frame you. The realization is staggering. I saved Helen's life, got her to the hospital, and she's been lying the whole time, helping Amanda destroy me. How many? I ask. How many men have they done this to? That I can prove? At least 5, including Jason and you. But I suspect more. They move between states, use different identities. It's sophisticated. Someone with legal or law enforcement background is helping them. The paperwork, the forged documents, the way they manipulate the system. This isn't amateur hour. She shows me more evidence. Financial records showing offshore accounts, shell companies, money trails that disappear into the Cayman Islands. Catherine has spent a fortune and years of her life documenting Amanda's crimes. Why didn't you go to the police? I did. Multiple times. But everything I have is circumstantial. Different states, different jurisdictions, no physical evidence of murder. The local cops said I was a grieving mother who couldn't accept an accident. The FBI said it wasn't enough for a federal case. So I kept investigating on my own, tracking Amanda, waiting for her to make a mistake. And she married my son. I found out 6 months ago. I've been watching, documenting. When I heard about your retirement party, about Helen collapsing, I knew Amanda had made her move. That's why I'm here. I can't let her do this again. I've failed to stop her 4 times. I won't fail a 5th. Catherine pulls out more files. Detailed plans, timelines, theories about how Amanda operates. We need to work together, she says. You have access to resources I don't. Lawyers, investigators, money if we can unfreeze your accounts. I have evidence that can show a pattern. Prove this isn't just about you. We spend 2 hours in that diner, building a strategy. Catherine will approach Helen, pretend to be a sympathetic friend from a church group, try to get close, maybe get Helen to reveal something incriminating. I'll hire a different investigator, one Amanda doesn't know about, to track the money trail from Brian's embezzlement. For the first time since the party, I feel like I have a fighting chance. Catherine leaves first. I wait 15 minutes, then head to my car. As I'm pulling out of the parking lot, my phone rings. Thomas. Lynn, you need to know something. Catherine Walsh was in a car accident an hour ago. My blood goes cold. What? Hit and run. Some truck forced her off the road about 10 miles from where you are. She's alive, but in bad shape. Broken ribs, collapsed lung, head trauma. Where is she? County General. In surgery. Lynn, this wasn't an accident. Someone knew you two were meeting. I think about surveillance, phone taps, tracking devices. Amanda has been 3 steps ahead this whole time. She knew about Catherine. Maybe knew about our meeting. My phone buzzes. Text message from an unknown number. I open it. A photo of Thomas's house. Just his house. Nothing threatening. But the message is clear. Then another text. Stop investigating, or you're next. And so is your friend. I call Thomas immediately. Pack a bag. Go stay with your son. Don't tell anyone where you're going. Lynn, what's happening? Amanda knows I'm fighting back. She's threatening you. Please, Thomas. Just go. He argues, but finally agrees. I drive home through streets that suddenly feel menacing. Every car could be following me. Every shadow could be a threat. At my house, I find Amanda standing on my porch. In broad daylight. Bold as brass. You met with Catherine Walsh today, she says. Not a question. That was stupid. You tried to kill her. I don't know what you're talking about. But hypothetically, if someone were trying to protect themselves from false accusations, they might take preventative measures. She steps closer. I resist the urge to back away. You have 1 week, Lynn. Sign the power of attorney papers. Accept the conservatorship, or the next accident won't leave any survivors. Your friend Thomas, he's 72. Heart problems, right? So tragic when elderly men have heart attacks, especially ones living alone. You can't threaten me like this. I just did. And there's nothing you can do about it. Catherine Walsh is the only person who believed your crazy theories. Now she's in a coma. The police think you're a bitter old man who tried to poison his son's mother-in-law. Your own son won't speak to you. You're broke, being evicted, under criminal investigation. Who's going to believe you? She turns to leave, pauses. 1 week. Then Thomas has an accident. Then you do. Choice is yours. I stand on my porch, watching her drive away, and realize I'm cornered. Every move I make, Amanda counters. Every ally I find, she neutralizes. Every piece of evidence I gather, she destroys. She's not just smart, she's experienced, has done this successfully multiple times, and I'm running out of time. That night, I sit in my living room, all the lights off, and seriously consider giving up, signing the papers, living out my years in some facility, drugged and docile, while Amanda spends my money, and Brian never knows the truth. It would be easier, safer. I'm 68 years old. How much fight do I really have left? But then I think about Catherine in that hospital bed, broken and bleeding because she tried to help me. Think about Jason, Amanda's first husband, lying at the bottom of those stairs. Think about all the other men Amanda and Helen have destroyed. And I think about Brian, trapped in a marriage to a serial killer, being blackmailed and manipulated. My son needs me to fight, so I will, even if it kills me. I call Douglas at 6 in the morning. Tell him I'm ready to sign the papers. Power of attorney, conservatorship agreement, everything Amanda wants. He's shocked. Lynn, are you sure? Once you sign, it's very hard to undo, I'm sure. Set up the meeting. Make it look official. Your office, 3 days from now. Douglas hears something in my voice. What are you planning? The less you know, the better. Just trust me. I hang up before he can argue. Then I drive to Thomas's hunting cabin, 4 hours upstate. Thomas went to his son's place in Pennsylvania, but he gave me the cabin key years ago. The cabin sits on 20 acres of forest, no neighbors for miles. Perfect. Thomas arrives 3 hours after I call him. He looks worried, tired. You sounded strange on the phone, because I need your help with something dangerous. I'm 72. Danger is my middle name. We spend the afternoon planning. Thomas makes calls to people I've never heard of. His nephew Marcus, who works for the FBI. His grandson Paul, the forensic accountant. Others in Thomas's network, people he's known for decades. By evening, we have a plan. Risky. Could backfire spectacularly. But it's the only shot I have. You're sure about this? Thomas asks. If she figures out what you're doing, she'll kill you. Not threaten, actually kill you. Then we better make sure she doesn't figure it out. The next day, I go to the hospital to visit Catherine. She's out of surgery, but still critical. Machines beeping, tubes everywhere. Her daughter is there, a woman in her 30s with Catherine's eyes. I introduce myself, explain everything. Catherine's daughter, Sarah, already knows most of it. Her mother shared the investigation with her. Take this, Sarah says, handing me a thumb drive. Mom's complete files, everything she found on Amanda. She made me promise to give it to you if anything happened to her. The thumb drive feels heavy in my pocket. Proof. Evidence. Maybe enough to stop Amanda. 2 days before the signing, I get a visitor. Brian. He shows up at my door, looking worse than I've ever seen him. Gaunt. Hollow-eyed. Lost. Can I come in? His voice is barely a whisper. We sit in my living room. Silence stretches between us. Finally, Brian speaks. I found something. In Amanda's office. She keeps it locked, but I picked it. I know I shouldn't have, but... He pulls out a folder. She has files on me. Copies of the embezzlement records. Evidence she's been collecting for years. I know about the embezzlement, Brian. He looks up, tears in his eyes. You know? And you never said anything? I only found out recently. And I know she's blackmailing you. It's not your fault. Brian breaks down, completely shatters, sobs like a child. I pull him close, hold my son while he cries. I didn't want to steal from you, he gasps between sobs. She made me. Said she'd turn me in if I didn't. Then she made me move more money, always more. And I couldn't stop because she had proof of everything. How long? 3 years. Since about 6 months after we married. I thought about running, about turning myself in. But she said she'd make sure I got maximum sentence. And I was scared, Dad. I'm so scared all the time. We talk for hours. I tell him everything. About Amanda's history, about Catherine, about the other men she's killed. Brian listens, face getting paler with each revelation. She's going to kill you, Brian finally says. That's the plan, isn't it? Get you to sign over control, then you have an accident. Probably. We have to stop her. We will. But I need you to trust me. Can you do that? Brian nods. What do you need me to do? The day of the signing arrives. Douglas's office, conference room on the third floor, large windows overlooking downtown, mahogany table, expensive chairs. Everything official and proper. Brian arrives first. Plays his part perfectly. Concerned son, doing what's best for his declining father. Amanda arrives next, Helen in a wheelchair being pushed by a nurse. Helen still acting fragile, though Catherine's evidence proves she's fine. I arrive last, with Douglas. I look defeated, broken, a sad old man accepting the inevitable. We sit. Douglas lays out papers. Power of attorney documents, conservatorship agreement, financial management forms, everything Amanda needs to control my life and my money. Before we begin, Douglas says, I need to inform everyone that this meeting is being recorded. Standard procedure for legal documents of this magnitude. Amanda's smile falters for just a second. Is that necessary? I'm afraid so. Protects everyone involved. I reach for the pen. My hand shakes. Not acting. Really shaking. This is the moment. Everything depends on the next few minutes. Then the conference room door opens. FBI agent Marcus Bradley walks in. Thomas's nephew. Tall, serious, with the kind of presence that makes everyone in the room go silent. Amanda's face goes white. Mr. Lynn, Marcus says, you don't have to sign anything. Amanda jumps to her feet. Who are you? You can't just barge in here. Marcus shows his badge. Special Agent Marcus Bradley, FBI, Mrs. Lynn. We have some questions for you. 2 more agents enter, blocking the door. Amanda looks at the exits, calculating. No escape. This is harassment, Amanda says, but her voice is thin. My father-in-law is mentally unwell. We're here to help him. Actually, Marcus says, we're here about a series of suspicious deaths in Texas, Florida, and Massachusetts. We'd like to ask you about your previous husbands. I don't know what you're talking about. Marcus nods to another agent, who wheels in a cart with a laptop. He opens files, displays them on a screen that drops from the ceiling. Financial records, death certificates, marriage licenses, all showing the pattern Catherine documented. We'd also like to discuss Catherine Walsh. Marcus continues. The hit and run that put her in the hospital. We have traffic camera footage showing a truck registered to a company owned by your brother, Derek Crosby. Amanda's composure cracks. Just slightly. My brother has nothing to do with this. Where's your brother, Mrs. Lynn? I don't know. We're not close. Thomas walks in then, carrying a recording device. This is from yesterday, he says, pressing play. Helen's voice fills the room. Brilliant performance, wasn't it? That old fool actually thought he saved my life. In the recording, Helen is at Brian's house. Thomas had gone there, hidden a recording device, caught Helen talking to Amanda when they thought they were alone. Memory loss. Helen's voice continues on the recording. The doctors believed it completely. And now Lynn looks like the guilty one. You're so clever, darling. In the conference room, Helen tries to stand up from her wheelchair. Can't maintain the charade anymore. That recording is inadmissible. It was obtained illegally. Actually, Marcus says, Mr. Bradley was an invited guest in the home. The recording is perfectly legal. Amanda starts screaming at Brian. Don't say anything. They have nothing real. Keep your mouth shut. But Brian is staring at his father. I nod. He understands. She tried to poison my father, Brian says, voice shaking. I didn't know until recently, but she tried to kill him, and she's been blackmailing me for 3 years. She has evidence that I embezzled money, and she used it to force me to help her. Amanda rounds on him. You idiot. You weak, pathetic. She wanted him dead. Brian shouts over her. She wanted the inheritance. She said we needed the money now, that we couldn't wait. She tried to murder him. The room goes completely silent. Marcus looks at Amanda. Did you attempt to poison Lynn with his own medication? Amanda's face is pure rage. The mask has completely shattered. He was in the way. We needed the money. He was going to give it all to charity. After everything we did, everything we planned, years of work. And he was just going to throw it away on homeless veterans. She realizes what she said, tries to backpedal. I didn't mean. I was just upset, but it's too late. Full confession. On recording. With FBI agents as witnesses. Marcus nods to the other agents. Amanda Lynn, Helen Crosby, you're both under arrest for attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, fraud, and extortion. Amanda bolts. Makes it 3 steps before an agent catches her. She fights, screaming, clawing. They wrestle her into handcuffs. Helen just sits in the wheelchair, staring straight ahead, her own mask finally fallen. As they're led away, Amanda looks back at me. Pure hatred in her eyes. You think you've won? I have insurance. One phone call and you lose everything. She's dragged out, still screaming. Douglas looks at me. What insurance? I shake my head. Don't know. But Amanda doesn't make empty threats. We find out 3 hours later. While I was in the meeting, someone broke into my house. Set a fire. The old Victorian went up fast, flames visible from downtown. By the time the fire department arrived, it was too late. My house. 40 years of memories. Gone. And the bank calls. Someone, using forged documents, withdrew the last of my accessible funds. Cleaned out every account they could reach. Left me with nothing but the pending sale of my business, still tied up in escrow. I stand outside my burning house, firefighters working to contain the blaze, and realize that even with Amanda arrested, she's still destroying me. She has accomplices, partners, people who are following through on her plans even from jail. Brian stands beside me, both of us watching everything burn. Dad, I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. No. This is Amanda. All Amanda. But inside, I wonder if I've won anything at all. Amanda's in jail. Yes. But I'm homeless, penniless, and whoever she's working with is still out there. The war isn't over. It's just entering its final phase. The FBI investigation explodes outward like ripples in a pond. Within 48 hours, Marcus and his team have identified Amanda's accomplice, Derek Crosby, Amanda's older brother. 43 years old, former paralegal, disbarred for ethics violations in 2012. Derek has been the architect behind everything. The forged documents, the offshore accounts, the systematic dismantling of victims' finances. He's done this for Amanda and Helen at least 6 times over the past decade. They find him trying to board a flight to the Cayman Islands. $2 million in cash in his luggage, along with fake passports and corporate documents. He's arrested before he reaches the gate. With Derek in custody, the financial trail opens up. FBI forensic accountants, working with Thomas's grandson Paul, traced $12 million stolen from my accounts over the past 3 years. Most of it is sitting in offshore accounts under shell company names. Frozen now. Recoverable through legal proceedings, but it will take time. My house fire was Derek's work. He set it remotely while we were in Douglas's office, destroying evidence and memories in one vindictive act. But what he didn't know is that Catherine had made digital copies of everything. Her hospital room became a command center, Sarah feeding documents to the FBI from her mother's encrypted drives. Brian cooperates fully with the investigation, admits to everything, the embezzlement, the money transfers, all of it. But the FBI sees what I saw. He's a victim, blackmailed, manipulated, controlled through fear, for 3 years. Marcus recommends no prosecution in exchange for testimony. Brian moves into Thomas's cabin with me. Neither of us has anywhere else to go. His marriage is over. My house is ashes. We're 2 broken men trying to figure out how to rebuild. The first few weeks are hard. We barely talk, moving around each other like ghosts. Brian is drowning in guilt. I'm processing 40 years of trust, shattered by 4 days of betrayal. One night, sitting on Thomas's porch watching the sunset, Brian finally breaks the silence. I should have seen it. What she was. You loved her. Love makes us blind. You saw through her. I shake my head. Not at first. I thought she was cold, mercenary, but I never imagined she was a serial killer. That's beyond what most people can comprehend. She targeted me, Brian says quietly. Researched our family. Found out you were successful. Planned the whole seduction. I thought she loved me. God, I'm such a fool. You're human. And she's very good at what she does. We talk for hours that night. Really talk. Maybe for the first time in years. Brian tells me how it started. How Amanda was perfect at first. Supportive, loving, everything he wanted. Then 6 months after the wedding, she found evidence of a small mistake Brian made in the business accounts. Nothing major, just a reporting error that looked worse than it was. She used it as leverage, made him move a little money to correct it, then demanded more. Always more. Threatened to expose him, to send him to prison. Brian was trapped, watching himself become a criminal, while his wife smiled and told him it would all be fine. I wanted to tell you so many times, Brian admits. But I was ashamed and scared, and she said you'd disown me if you knew. I would never disown you. You're my son. He cries again. We both do. 2 grown men, sitting on a porch, crying about the wreckage of our lives. But it's healing. Slowly, painfully, but healing. Catherine recovers. Slowly. The collapsed lung heals. The broken ribs mend. She's released from the hospital after 6 weeks. Sarah brings her to the cabin, and Catherine and I spend a long afternoon comparing notes, filling in gaps in each other's knowledge. There are more, Catherine says. More victims we haven't found yet. Amanda and Helen have been doing this for at least 15 years. Started small, built up to bigger targets. We've documented 6 deaths. I think there are at least 10. The FBI agrees. Marcus tells me they're opening investigations in 4 other states, looking at suspicious deaths of wealthy men who married women matching Amanda and Helen's descriptions. It's going to be years of work, but they have enough to charge both women now. Attempted murder for the poisoning, conspiracy, fraud, extortion. Derek is offering to testify in exchange for a reduced sentence, confirming the entire operation. The trial takes 8 months to prepare. Derek testifies first, laying out the whole system. How he'd help Amanda research targets, forge documents, move money. He's cold, analytical. Describes setting up offshore accounts, the way someone might describe changing oil in a car. Catherine testifies next. From her wheelchair, she tells Jason's story. Her voice never wavers, even when describing finding her son's body. She presents 15 years of investigation, showing the pattern. The jury listens, horrified. Thomas testifies about the recordings. Brian testifies about the blackmail. I testify about the poisoning, the frame-up, the systematic destruction of my life. Amanda and Helen refuse plea deals. Their lawyer, a slick guy from New York who specializes in high-profile cases, argues that it's all circumstantial, that Amanda is a victim of a conspiracy, that I'm a bitter old man seeking revenge. The jury doesn't buy it. They deliberate for 6 hours. Come back with guilty verdicts on every count. Amanda gets 35 years, no possibility of parole for 20. Helen gets 25 years, no parole for 15. Derek gets 12 years for cooperating. I'm in the courtroom when the sentences come down. Amanda turns to look at me as the bailiffs lead her away. Her face is blank. No rage, no fear. Just empty. Like looking into the eyes of a shark. This isn't over, she mouths silently. But it is. Finally, it is. My assets unfreeze over the next few months. The business sale completes. I receive my $28 million, minus legal fees and costs, but still substantial. The offshore accounts are recovered. Insurance pays for the house, though I decide not to rebuild. Too many bad memories. I buy a smaller place near the lake, close to Thomas's cabin. Brian gets therapy. Real therapy. With a psychologist who specializes in abuse victims. Starts working through the trauma of 3 years married to a monster. He divorces Amanda while she's in prison. She fights it, trying to claim spousal rights to assets. The court rules against her. Brian gets his freedom. 1 year after the retirement party that changed everything, Brian and I establish a foundation in Catherine's name, the Catherine Walsh Foundation for Elder Financial Abuse and Domestic Manipulation. Catherine agrees to be the director. Her first act is to hire Sarah as deputy director. The foundation helps victims, People who've been trapped by conservatorship scams, financial manipulation, or abusive relationships, where money is used as control. We've helped 43 people in the first year, recovered over $9 million in stolen assets. It gives my retirement meaning, purpose beyond just existing. Thomas and I fish most mornings. Sit on his dock, watch the sun come up over the lake. Don't always talk. Don't need to. Just two old friends who survived a war. Brian joins us some mornings. He's working in construction again, learning the business from the ground up. Says he wants to understand what I built. Wants to carry it forward someday. We're rebuilding. Not just bank accounts and houses. Rebuilding trust. Rebuilding family. Rebuilding the relationship that Amanda tried to destroy. One evening, about 18 months after everything started, Brian and I stand on my new dock watching the sunset. The sky is orange and pink, reflecting off the still water. "Dad," Brian says, "I'm so sorry. For everything. You were a victim too, son. She fooled us both. But we survived. We're stronger now," he says. "We are. We have each other. That's what matters. We embrace." Father and son. Damaged, but healing. Scarred, but alive. I've learned something over these 68 years. Evil exists. It's real, often attractive, always patient. Amanda could have been anyone. Your neighbor, your child's spouse, the friendly person at church. Evil doesn't always look like evil. But I've also learned that family can heal. That trust can be rebuilt, even after calculated destruction. That fighting back, even when it costs everything, is always the right choice. Brian was manipulated, controlled, made into someone he wasn't. But underneath the fear and the coercion, he was still my son. And he's still my son now. The money didn't matter in the end. Not really. What mattered was getting my son back. Exposing the truth. Stopping Amanda and Helen before they destroyed someone else's family. Sometimes the battle costs you everything you've built. Your home burns. Your account's empty. Your reputation gets dragged through mud. But reclaiming your life, protecting the people you love, standing up to evil, even when you're terrified, that's worth any price. Don't let manipulators isolate you. Don't suffer in silence. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. And if someone tries to separate you from the people who love you, that's when you fight hardest. Amanda is in prison. Helen is in prison. Derek is in prison. They can't hurt anyone else. Catherine got justice for Jason. The other victims and their families got acknowledgement, validation that they weren't crazy for suspecting murder. And I got my son back. That's victory. Real, meaningful victory. Brian and I fish together now. Work together. Talk about everything. Hold nothing back. The nightmare is behind us. Fading like old scars. Amanda thought she could break us. Instead, she forced us to become stronger. Life lesson learned the hard way. Evil can be sophisticated, patient, charming even. But vigilance, persistence, and love ultimately prevail. The bonds of family can survive even the most calculated destruction as long as there's willingness to heal and fight for truth. I'm 69 now, retired for real this time, living simply by the lake, fishing with friends, running a foundation that helps people, rebuilding a relationship with my son. Amanda is a distant memory, just another con artist who thought she was smarter than everyone else. She wasn't. She just got caught later than most. And me? I'm at peace. Finally, truly at peace. The sun sets over the lake. Brian and I stand on the dock. The future stretches ahead, uncertain, but hopeful. We survived. We fought back. We won. And that makes all the difference. I want to ask you something. Have you ever had someone in your life who seemed perfect at first but turned out to be manipulating you or someone you loved? How did you handle it? What signs did you miss that you see clearly now? Share your story in the comments. Your experience might help someone else recognize the warning signs before it's too late. If this story resonated with you, if you felt the pain of betrayal or the struggle to protect someone you love, please hit that like button. Subscribe to hear more stories about real people facing real challenges and finding the strength to overcome them. And share this with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who might be in a situation they don't know how to escape. Your share could save a life. Thank you for listening to my story, for walking with me through the darkest time of my life and celebrating the victory on the other side. Remember, no matter how trapped you feel, no matter how hopeless things seem, there's always a way forward, always a chance to fight back, always hope. Stay strong, trust your instincts, and never stop fighting for the people you love. Until next time.